rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Well, the world is waking up, or well, it did this morning. I couldn't believe it. I know I popped on to the social medias, and let me just tell you, it was flooded with all kinds of, hey, Iran, U.S. and Israel attacked Iran, and then I saw something else where it was like, oh, and then Iran attacked Saudi Arabia, UAE, and all these other places. Obviously, somebody lit the match and threw it on the gasoline fire that is the Middle East. And man, whoo. Well, regime change is on its way, folks. It's on its way. It's going to be done. Well, it's already been done because apparently Kahmenei has been declared dead, has been confirmed dead, at least according to sources. So, wow. Well, I guess, well, China had better take note. All right, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Tonight's Pledge of Allegiance is back at the top of the order. We have Amy on deck. She is over in the green room warming up her pipes. So let's go ahead and, if you are of mind, please stand, remove your hat. If you're wearing one like me, place your hand over your heart and follow along with Amy as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And I thank you, Amy, for that wonderful rendition of the Pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the Pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting the Pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, attach it to an email, and send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get you into the rotation. I have 21 of these things. We just started the top of the order. So I have 21 of these things. I need 26 by the end of 2026. So please get yours in today. And if you can't send it via email, that's sending it off to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. You can't send the file because it's too big. Try one of the free online file sharing sites like Box, Dropbox, or obviously Google Drive. And you can copy and paste that link and send it off to me. And I'll be able to download it from there. You can also use your phone and use the share option if you like. When you get done with getting your recording, you can hit the share option. That's S-H-A-R-E. And you'll be able to send it off to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. Polish Dog, I don't think I have yours, so you could be one of the 5 that I am looking for. Just calling out one of my longtime Whiskey Warrior P1s that he shows up every once in a while. Anyway. All right, let's go ahead and talk about tonight's headline sponsor, which is Oh, goodness. Yeah, I was playing around with a couple of things. I'm trying to get my chats to actually work better than what's there. And unfortunately, there we go. And unfortunately, it just, yeah. Anyway, here it is. Here's our headline sponsor. That is the Institute on the Constitution. You know, I don't like it when it does this. Let's do it back here. There we go. Now it's right in the right spot. This is the Institute on the Constitution. You can head on over to theamericanview.com. That's theamericanview.com for the Institute on the Constitution. They have a plan, and their goal, of course, their mission is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education from a biblical worldview. And they have a 3-step plan. It's listed right there. Pray, study, act. You start by praying for the country. Pray for America. That's right. And we really need prayers now because as of this morning, we created some issues. Anyway, over in the Middle East, not that I really care. Frankly, well, never mind. We're going to pray. And then the second thing you need to do is study. When somebody goes study what? Well, it's pretty simple. It's the U.S. Constitution and the other classes. So what you do is you click on study, you come over here, you look at this wonderful thing right above my head. It's a sign-up sheet. You put in your first name, last name, email address, click Get Lesson 1 free, and they will email you every single week a short lesson up to 12 weeks long that is 15 to 20 minutes long itself. Each lesson is 15 to 20 minutes long. And you get 12 of them directly into your inbox to learn all about the wonderful, fantastic foundational document that we have called the United States Constitution that I got to tell you, man, there are so many people, especially those on the media, socials, especially those leftist idiots. Those people, they definitely need education on our Constitution. We'll be talking a little bit about that tonight. But anyway, you do that and you can get all 12 and do it at your own pace. Take your time, go through it. We'll be good. And then what you can do is you can go and check out their other classes. They've got 4 or 5 classes. And once you are done going through those 4 or 5 classes, which is part of the act, taking classes and everything, after you get done with that, help them out by becoming an instructor for them. That's right. Become an instructor for them and start having classes in your neighborhoods. And, you may even have an opportunity to travel, too, if you want to travel a little bit and go do things. Anyway, they have a video right over here that you can check out to learn about how to become an instructor. And you can also check out the 5 tips for a successful class, which is right here. That you can also take a look and everything. They have the instructor kit, which includes everything that you need in order to put on a class to educate yourself, equip with yourself, and so on and so forth. Once you become an instructor, you can try taking a look at the other levels like certified instructor, platinum instructor, chapter leader. Yeah, do that. And you can also pick up stuff in their shop. That's right. This is their store. They have obviously the instruction manuals and all kinds of other educational resources, apparel, and so on and so forth. But my personal favorite's right over above my head right here, the Legacy Library, because the Legacy Library leads you to this fantastic little rounded cornered book that you can carry along with you. Man, I'm telling you, this is the best thing since sliced bread. This is the U.S. Constitution in a Saddleback leather-bound version. Take a look at this thing. It's got 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. No cheap glue here, but look, they're stitched all the way through, the leather and the pages contained within. It's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if you have an issue, you can send it back to the manufacturer within that 100 years. And they will either fix it or replace it for free. It is buddy tested, buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. My youngest whiskey warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you to study for and achieve your civics badge in scouting, not to mention that civics test and maybe even the naturalization test. You can do that. And keep in mind, my whiskey warriors all tell me that each little round cornered book purchase will cause a liberal to have hypersonic gastrointestinal malfunctions. Yeah, we definitely need that. And the stitching is apparently rated platinum, even though it's not a record. Blue ribbon, even though it's not competing. Check out that stitching today. You got to check out the stitching that's on this thing. It's on the back right there. Look at that. That is just fantastic stitching. All right, head on over to theamericanview.com. That's theamericanview, altogether, all one word, .com, and go and check it out in the shop. And go pick up, again, this is in the Legacy Library. Go ahead and pick that up. It is a fantastic addition to any library that you may have. All right. Let's get on with tonight. Tonight I am drinking Buffalo Trace Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey because I like my bourbons. There it is. And it's in the fantastic, superior, stupendous Whiskey Warrior P1 gifted It Takes Stones to Drink with Whiskey glass. And there's the requisite stones. I only have 2 instead of 3 in there tonight. But anyway, there it is. So, the first sip. Good stuff there, Maynard, let me tell you. All right, let's get the first segment going. Nana isn't here, so she didn't remind me, but here's the, let's get the first segment out of the way. On this day in American history. And for On This Day in American History, we read from The American Patriots Almanac, written by William J. Bennett and John T.E. Cribb, chock full of all kinds of information and factoids about this wonderful country that we call home. We are at the last day of the month, 28. No, it's not a leap year this year, so we don't get 29 in February. This is 28. And so on the 28th, we have no shortage of heroes, is what we're going to talk about. On this day, in 1969, Airman First Class John Levitow was lying in a hospital bed, his body covered with 40 shrapnel wounds, trying to piece together exactly how he had ended up there. Meanwhile, 7 Air Force buddies in South Vietnam were telling themselves they wouldn't be alive if not for Levitow's courage. 4 days earlier, 8 men had flown a night combat mission over South Vietnam aboard an AC-47 gunship, dropping magnesium flares to illuminate the enemy positions on the ground. Each flare had a safety pin. 20 seconds after the pin was pulled and the flare was tossed out a cargo door, it would ignite to 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit, lighting up the countryside. In the 5th hour of the mission, a Viet Cong mortar hit the plane, blasting a hole through a wing and nearly wrenching the gunship out of the sky. Levitow, wounded in the back and the legs, had just dragged a bleeding crewmate away from the open cargo door when he saw a smoking flare roll across the floor amid ammunition canisters. Its pin had been pulled. Levitow tried to grab the flare, but it skidded away. In desperation, he threw himself on top. Hugging it to his chest, he dragged himself to the plane's rear, leaving a trail of blood, and hurled the flare through the door. An instant later, it burst into a white-hot blaze, but free of the aircraft. Levitow recovered and went on to fly 20 more combat missions. In 1970, he received the Medal of Honor, an award he accepted with humility. There are many people who have served, who have done things that have been simply amazing and never been recognized, he said. A good reminder that the U.S. military has no shortage of heroes. We saw some of those heroes at the State of the Union. 2 of them awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, which, by the way, when you get awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, it is for conspicuous gallantry above and beyond the call. And that is tonight's On This Day in American History. Wow. And I'm sure that we're going to be seeing a lot more of those coming out, hopefully, in the very near future. Well, keep in mind, unfortunately, the Congressional Medal of Honor is not awarded to people who are alive very often. So, unfortunately, even though I say that, that's like wishing death upon somebody. But anyway. All right, excuse me just a second. I got to pick up the book. It slipped and fell. Ugh. Wanted to make sure that it didn't have any damage to it. And not saying that the thing isn't, got some wear and tear on it already, but anyway. And yes, 3 Chevy is correct. If you get the Congressional Medal of Honor, doesn't matter what person the rank is. If you receive that Congressional Medal of Honor, everybody salutes you. Everyone. I think the only exception is maybe the president. But, hey, if I were president, I'd be saluting those guys. Anyway. All right. Let's move on to the... Folks, this is a historic day. I just got to say, how many years I have heard about Iran. I mean, our conflicts with Iran go all the way back to the embassy, and even further back, but all the way back to the embassy under Carter being attacked, and you know, the whole hostage crisis. And I got to tell you, it's been quite some time. We've been playing with them with kid gloves under the Obama administration, which is probably the farthest back that most young people who might listen to this broadcast would know. Under the Obama administration, they handed money back to the Iranian regime. They encouraged them with the stupid, completely stupid proliferation treaty or whatever it was that they wanted to put together, that was saying that, hey, if you do a moratorium for like 10 years, we'll allow you to eventually get a nuclear weapon, which nobody wanted. Not even the you know, the Middle Eastern neighbors wanted it. And I'm not talking about just Israel. I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about the Saudis, the UAE, Qatar, you know, Oman, all of them. They were all like, no, we can't do that. Well, the only two presidents that I'm aware of that have not played with these people. First one was Ronald Reagan, because he ended the Iran hostage crisis that Carter got us into. Ronald Reagan ended it, got our people home, and now we have Donald Trump. Donald Trump has basically told these people, hey, we're done with you. You can't have a nuclear weapon. We are not going to allow it. That is a red line that you are not going to cross. We are not going to allow you to cross that Rubicon at all. And so what did he do? He bombed the crap out of them and took their nuclear facilities offline. Okay. And, I forgot. Thanks, 3 Chevy. I forgot about the Stuxnet whole idea. But anyway, he blew their centrifuges and everything else. Donald Trump decided to say, we're not allowing you to have it. And the more that you sit there and boycott and everything else, he backed us out of the Iran deal. He basically said, look, we're not playing with you. You just can't have it, period. And they, of course, have been responding oftentimes with looking at the International Atomic Agency, the IAEA or whatever it is. Yeah, they've been saying, no, you guys can't inspect us. You guys can't inspect us. You backed out of the deal. You can't inspect us. And, Donald Trump said, you mess with the bully, you get the horns. And they gave him the horns. And then Iran is sitting there and saying, well, yeah, okay, we're going to come to the table. We're going to talk. We're going to do all this stuff. We're going to help. And they went and they started fortifying their positions. We talked about that on this program not that long ago, expecting some sort of an attack. Well, today was that day. Today was that day. And he attacked along with Israel. Now, Israel, of course, hey, we're a friend to Israel. I don't give a crap what all of you other, the Democrat Israel haters and everything else. Folks, I am done with this. I'm done with this crap. Israel has been an ally to us and has been the one country in the Middle East that is essentially close enough to a democracy and to the Western world than the rest of them. I mean, Saudi Arabia, it was the Saudis and Saudi-backed individuals who performed 9/11. Not happy with them. Qatar funds terrorism across the world. Yep, not happy with them. Iran funds terrorism through their proxies of the Houthis, the Hezbollah, and I'm trying to think there's another one. But anyway, the three different ones. These regimes that are doing all of this terrorist stuff needs to go away. And Iran is just the tip of the spear. They're the ones that are the most active with regards to this, the most openly active. But I got to tell you, Qatar's another one. Hamas, thank you. Thank you, G. Hamas is the other one. But, we need to understand, we as Americans and Western cultures need to understand these people that they don't care. The only thing that these people recognize is power. That's it. They only recognize power. They only recognize power. And I know I'm repeating myself over and over and over again because I got to get it into the heads of these idiots that are out there that are sitting there saying, "Oh no. Appeasement is the way to go." Folks, appeasement is what they see as weakness. You need to walk in whenever you walk into these places. I'm just going to say, I'm just putting this out there. It's kind of like the whole Taliban thing, where the Taliban leader walked into a meeting with Trump during Trump 1.0, and Trump basically said, "Hey, do you recognize this house? Yeah, guess what? That's your house. And we know it. And not only that, but we also know when you're home. We also know when you're home. And we're going to take you out if any more American soldiers die over here." Well, guess what? We hadn't had an American soldier die at the hands of the Taliban up until the point that Biden took over and did that disastrous Abbey Gate and the pullout. You folks, these people don't understand weakness. They abhor it. They will exploit it. And that is essentially what Donald Trump has done, is he says, no, I'm not weak, man. I'm not weak at all. You either play ball with me or, hey, I'll hang the carrot out first. And you either take that carrot or I hit you with the stick. Okay? For anybody that even closely remembers that area of the world under Carter, all you have to do to be reminded of it slightly is to watch the movie Miracle. Miracle occurred in 1980. That's all you have to do. There are some clips, some news clippings that the main character, the coach, is watching where, you had the Russians invading Afghanistan. You had the Iran scandal or the Iran problem, and the taking of the embassy over there. I mean, all of that stuff. This area of the country, this area of the world has been a hotbed for all of this crap for many, many years, decades even. And now we have somebody in office who basically, A, doesn't really give a crap anymore, and B, isn't really pulling any punches. He's really not. Now, the Iranians, he gave them all the time in the world. He said, look, you either play ball with us or you're done. And when he hit them with with Israel and bombed their nuclear facilities, he basically demonstrated, look, I'm not playing with you. I'm not playing with you. Come to the table. We can stop this. And then they started to have the Iranian people started to rise up in the streets and rebel. And what did Trump do? Trump said, look, you guys need to stop. Quit killing all your people. If you do, we're going to come in and take care of you. We're going to take care of business. We're going to help those Iranians that are trying to rebel against this overburdensome regime. And he took a lot of criticism for that statement because a lot of people were like, how are you going to do this? How are you going to help those people? Are you really looking for regime change? He waited long enough for the higher ups, the head of the snake, as you will, to get into one singular building. And that's when we struck, was today. They went into one singular building in Tehran, and that's when we bombed them. We hit them hard. And now it seems that the Kahmenei, Ayatollah, whatever, he's gone. He's done. He's history. He's going into the afterlife with the 72 virgins or whatever the hell it is that he's after, rivers of honey and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, he's gone. Now, granted, after the attacks started in Iran, they decided to strike back. Now, this wasn't exactly their smartest move. But before I get into that, I want to show you how Donald Trump, I want to play for you how Donald Trump announced it to everybody that this was occurring. Take a listen to this.
Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
And there you have it. And that was the reasoning. That was the reasoning behind it. He is basically saying it's time for regime change in Iran. It's time for this government to go away. It's yours to take, he said. It's yours to take. Now, here's the thing. Even President Barack Obama realized that he made a mistake. He's even admitted to it. He's admitted that he made a mistake. He was speaking during a podcast yesterday where he talked about his mistake. Now, I got to tell you, if you're president of the United States, if you're the commander-in-chief of the greatest fighting force in the world, and if you are the considered leader of the free world, you don't get a chance to make mistakes, folks. When you make a mistake, it becomes a big, big problem. But here it is. Here's Barack Obama. Barack Milhouse Benito Obama, according to Mark Levin, talking about his mistake.
There is deep dissatisfaction with the Iranian regime. Number two, that women in particular are chafing under a series of not just systematic discrimination against women and subjugation of women, but also an arbitrariness and cruelty beneath that's exercised by the state against women, which has made them essentially say, we're fed up, we're tired of this. And that's extraordinarily powerful. Whether it ends up bringing about fundamental change in that regime, I think is hard to predict. But the one thing that, when I think back to 2009, 2010, you guys will recall, there was a big debate inside the White House about whether I should publicly affirm what was going on with the Green Movement, because a lot of the activists were being accused of being tools of the West, and there was some thought that we were somehow going to be undermining their street cred in Iran if I supported what they were doing. And in retrospect, I think that was a mistake. Every time we see a flash, a glimmer of hope, of people longing for freedom, I think we have to point it out. We have to shine a spotlight on it. We have to express some solidarity about it.
Yep. That's what we need to do, folks. If we're going to be the world's police, we need to be able to be prepared to react when this stuff happens. And yeah, that was a big miss. Of course, sending the pallets of money back to Iran was a big miss too, but we're not going to go anywhere with that. Yeah. The Iranians held, by the way, 52 Americans hostage for 444 days starting in 1979 and only ending when Reagan took over the reins. There's a lot of people who think that Reagan, colluded with the Iranians to essentially bring them home, to hang on to them long enough and bring them home. But I don't believe that. What I believe is that the Iranians knew that when Ronnie Reagan, literally Ray Gun, got into office, he wasn't going to tolerate this because of the plain and simple fact that Ron had not tolerated the crap at Berkeley. See, this is the thing, people. This is the thing. And this is something that I think a lot of people don't seem to understand. Okay? It's plain and simple this. There are times where you have no other choice. The choice that you make to acquiesce, to essentially feign weakness or show weakness, I should say, not feigning weakness, because you're faking it. But to show weakness instead of strength is the wrong way to go, period. And I can tell you for a fact that every single one of these Islamist countries that are over there, you fake weakness or you show weakness, they disrespect it. They don't like it. You must show strength all the time, period. This is why you can't sit here and show, we're just weak. We're weak. No, we're not. We're not weak. And to sit there and act like, we're not ready. No. Folks, we have the greatest fighting force in the world. I seem to recall a very famous individual saying, walk softly and carry a big stick. I think his name was Teddy Roosevelt. And I got to tell you, that in and of itself is the pathway forward with a lot of these regimes. Like, look, we're willing to work with you if you're willing to work with us. But the minute that you're not, we're going to smack you down hard. And I'll guarantee you, it's known as the power of deterrence. Ronald Reagan knew this. Donald Trump knows this. It's the power of deterrence. When you go to that poker table, you have to be willing to put all your chips in at times in order to come out on top and win. Anyway, Trump's already shown that he has no problem, no qualms about doing this, which is part of the reason why for his first term, those first 4 years, there was nothing going on. And what happened? Biden gets into office, and the first thing that happens is all of a sudden Russia invades Ukraine, and the Chinese start threatening Taiwan. I mean, seriously. What the hell happened? 4 years under Trump, they did nothing. The minute Biden got into office, because of the fact that these individuals, these people, meaning the Chinese and the Russians, both knew Biden wasn't going to do shit. And that's what happened with the Iranians. Now, I guarantee you right now, the Chinese are sitting here looking at this because what happened with Biden backing out in Afghanistan the way that he did, I guarantee you the Chinese are looking at this little event and going, yeah, we may want to hold off on taking over Taiwan, even though we've been talking about it and acting like we're going to. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be doing this. Yeah, they're thinking twice. I guarantee it, they're thinking twice. See, Trump has not been any different. Trump 1.0, what did he do? He took out the Major General Qasem Soleimani in 2020. And the Iranian regime just decided to keep pushing their luck. I'm personally hoping that this is just the spark to go ahead and just flatten the hell out of this Iranian regime. Because as you know, what happened when Biden handed over $6 billion to the Iranians? I don't even think it was like 48 hours later. The most horrific and disgusting slaughter of Israelis since the Holocaust occurred on October 7th. Folks, you cannot give in to these people. They're like a freaking child that keeps asking you for a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. Every single time they ask for an inch, this is no different than the Democrats. They ask for an inch, they take a mile. No. We need to stop this. You look at these people the same way that you look at your children when properly raised. You mark the line in the sand. They cross that line, they get smacked. If they don't, then you go and make another line in the sand. What do you think is going to happen? They don't respect you anymore. They don't respect your authority anymore. And they immediately will challenge you over and over and over again. This is no different than dealing with a petulant child. Absolutely none. Well, there's at least one Democrat who is on board. And once again, I'm telling you, this guy should just switch to like independent or maybe even just declare that he's a Republican. John Fetterman, Senator Fetterman. Yep. He praises the Operation Epic Fury that Trump put out there. Trump is willing to do what's right, Fetterman says. Now, there's a bunch of other lawmakers that are sitting there and they're all reacting. And believe me, people like Hakeem Jeffries is like, Trump is becoming a dictator. Oh my gosh, he needs to stop. We'll have more on that in just a minute. But, yeah. Congress is going crazy. Congress is going nuts. They're like, the Democrats are saying, oh my gosh, we need to stop Trump now. He unconstitutionally put us into a war with Iran. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. And anybody who sits there and tries to tell you that, yes, it was unconstitutional for him to, no, it's not. It's not. Now, let me show you why it's not. There's this thing known as the War Powers Act, okay? The War Powers Act. Title 50, United States Code 1542. Here it is. This is the start. By the way, let me just back up. Here's Chapter 33, which covers everything, the War Powers Resolution, all right? So this is all of Chapter 33 right here. So let's start. You know what? I'm going to start with the purpose and policy. We're just going to start there. So here it is. Here's the purpose and policy. This is why they did it. It is the purpose of this chapter to fulfill the intent of the framers of the Constitution of the United States and ensure that the collective judgment of both Congress and the President will apply to the introduction of the United States Armed Forces into hostilities or into situations where imminent involvement in hostilities is clearly indicated by the circumstances, and to the continued use of such forces in hostilities or in such situations. That was the purpose. Because here's the thing. By going to Congress, Congress can sit there and back and forth. I mean, take a look at how long it's taken them to just come up with freaking money for the Department of Homeland Security. Could you just imagine how long it would take Congress to debate on whether or not And not only that, but it would be public as well, to debate back and forth on whether or not it is proper and right for us to go and block Iran from doing something. Now, do I agree with this kind of situation? No, not necessarily, but we're in it. This all started after World War I and World War II. The Americans finally had, you know what? We're done. We're done with these world wars. You know, between World War I and World War II, we kind of backed off. We were isolationists. We were like, hey, we're not going to deal with the rest of the world. We're just going to deal with ourselves. We're good, you know, so on and so forth. There was a lot of public support for isolationism. And we were all sitting there and we're just like, hey, you know what? Whatever happens in Europe happens in Europe. It's none of our business. We broke from Europe back in 1776. We don't even give a crap anymore. And what happened? We ended up with world wars, back to back, roughly 20 years apart from each other. So after World War II, the American government said, okay, we can't do this again. Obviously, the rest of the world is a bunch of petulant children, and we are the adults in the room. So, yeah, we're done with this. We're going to make it so that these petulant children no longer are going to start fights, schoolyard fights anymore. So, like the teacher at school, okay, like the teacher at school, we decided after World War II, hey, you know what? We're done with this crap. We're going to become the world's police. And unfortunately, that got us into some conflicts like the Korean War and like Vietnam. But here's the problem with the Korean War and Vietnam. And I'm just going to lay it out there. Congress and the politicians took that over. Congress and the politicians interfered so much with the idea that, hey, we're going to go into these wars. You guys got us into it. We're going to go in and we're not going to do anything. We're not going to win. Blah, blah, blah. We don't want to win. Public sentiment, granted, was against both of those quote-unquote wars, but even though they actually weren't wars, because the last time that Congress has actually declared war was in World War II. But, of course, the challenge that you had is you had presidents who were basically thinking, you know what, this is unpopular. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. La, 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 la. And it became a political problem. Folks, whenever you have political problems, political challenges, and you put things onto a political plate, it becomes a quagmire. It becomes a problem in and of itself. It gets mired down in a whole bunch of policy and, oh, well, we can't do this. We must do that. Oh, that would be wrong. This would be great. No, when you decide to go into a country, there is one thing and one thing only. And this is part of the reason why the founding fathers put forth the fact that the president is the commander in chief. This is it. Because one person is a lot more maneuverable to make decisions than it is an entire body of 535 people in Congress. So to sit here and be, the Democrats, to sit here and argue that, no, Congress should. No, Congress has no business sticking their nose into this. This is the president. The president makes that decision. The president is the commander in chief. Congress can decide whether or not to fund it, but the president is the one who makes all the battle plans and makes the decision to go or no go. That's how this should work and does work. Now, let me get back to this War Powers Act. So here, under 1542 of, again, Title 50, United States Code, this is section 1542. 1542. It says the president, in every possible instance, shall consult with Congress before introducing United States armed forces into hostilities or into situations where imminent involvement in hostilities is clearly indicated by the circumstances. And after every such introduction shall consult regularly with the Congress until the United States Armed Forces are no longer engaged in hostilities or have been removed from such situations. Now, here's the thing, in every possible instance. I believe he's been talking to Congress this entire time. I believe he's been informing the American people. He's been very public about this. He's been saying, Iran, step forward or we're coming in. And yet the Democrats act like this is all of a sudden a big surprise that, hey, all of a sudden we just attacked. We attacked for no reason. Oh, no, we didn't. It's been all over the freaking news. They've been talking about Iran not coming to the table and not agreeing to stuff. This is ridiculous, folks. They have been consulting you. They've consulted you through the public news media. And I'm sure, like I said, there's been back-channel conversations this entire time. Well, let's move on. So here's the rules in terms of reporting. This is under Section 1543. A written report in the absence of a declaration of war in any case where the United States Armed Forces are introduced into hostilities or situations where imminent involvement in hostilities is clearly indicated by the circumstances, into a territory, airspace, waters of a foreign nation while equipped for combat. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, what do you think was going on when he sent those freaking aircraft carrier groups outside of Iran? Do you want to, I mean, seriously, Democrat, dumbasses, let me just point this out to you, Mr. and Mrs. Congressional Idiot. Do you honestly believe that him moving those warships into an area near Iran did not mean anything? What did you think? They were just, it's just little toys we got in a bathtub. This is our little boat toy. Oh, we're just going to send it over here. Woohoo. Seriously? Seriously, you didn't know this was coming. See, this is why the Democrats are so stupid. They're just sitting there thinking, oh, no, Trump's not doing anything. He's just, he's moving things around. No, hello, he was preparing for something. This doesn't take a genius to figure this out. Hell, even the Iranians figured it out because they started burying their shit. I showed you the satellite images and satellite photos. Oh, they started burying their strategic sites weeks ago. Oh, frick. God, I swear these people are so damn stupid. Anyway, to continue on with this, he goes, it goes, the president shall provide such other information as the Congress may request in the fulfillment of its constitutional responsibilities with respects to committing the nation to war or to the use of the United States Armed Forces abroad. And then he goes, and it says this. Whenever the United States Armed Forces are introduced into hostilities or into any situation described in subsection A, which we kind of went through, says the president shall, so long as the armed forces continue to be engaged in such hostilities, report to Congress periodically on the status of such hostilities or situation, as well as on the scope and duration of such hostilities or situation, but in no event shall report to Congress less often than once every 6 months. So in other words, all he has to do is talk to people. That's it. And by the way, there's even one a little bit further. 1543A says not later than 48 hours after any incident in which the United States Armed Forces are involved in any attack or hostilities, whether in an offensive or defensive capacity, the President shall transmit to the Congressional Defense Committee, the Committee on Foreign Relations of the Senate, and the Committee on Foreign Affairs of the House of Representatives a report on the incident. So he has 48 hours to report this. And by the way, he's already said the Congressional 8, which I'm assuming is the 8 people that he must talk to immediately. He already talked to 7 out of those 8 individuals. And he did it right before he went and announced what was going on. So where in the hell, Democrats, and by the way, Thomas Massie is a part of this idiocy. Thomas Massie, the Republican, who is a complete rhino moron, is sitting here saying the exact same thing. We need to rein Trump in. Really? When pretty much every single president, from Trump all the way back, has done these types of attacks. I seem to recall your God King Obama attacking Syria with no problem in terms of drone strikes and everything else. That would qualify as the American forces getting involved in combat and in an offensive nature. These idiots are sitting here running around and they're all saying, oh, this is so bad. This is so bad. Donald Trump is doing this outside of the law. Really? No, he isn't. It's right here. I'm telling you the law. I'm telling you what he's allowed to do and what he isn't allowed to do and what he should be able to do and what he can't. Yeah, it's all right here. All you have to do is frickin' research and look at it. And yet here they are in Congress. They're all sitting here complaining about the fact that, oh, Donald Trump never told us. Well, he doesn't have to. He only has to tell a certain number of people. And he's already done that. Freaking idiots. Oh, my God. We are being governed by at least a good majority by complete, utter, stupid morons. And I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit tired of it. I'm a little bit tired of it. These idiots need to stop. He needs to stop. They need to quit. This has been a long time coming here, folks. Iran has been thumbing their freaking nose at us for decades. And all we've been doing is every once in a while we get some pissant president to get in there and just send them some freaking money, which is a whole bunch of crap. I, for one, am tired of it. I'm tired of it. And I've seen posts on social media, even by some people that I know, who are sitting here saying, for all of you who voted for Trump, oh, here we are. We're getting into a war. No, we're not. We're not getting into a war. Give me a break. We did a military action. Yes. Is it going to get us into war? Who cares? Even if it does. I honestly and 100% truly believe this will be very, very similar to when we went into Kuwait and went into Iraq. That these people, the people of Iran, are going to be begging to surrender to us. That the Iranian Republican Guard, or whatever the hell they call themselves, are going to be sitting there and going, you know what? We're just going to, we're done. We're not, we give up. Anyway, I got to get this spot in. This is a new spot, by the way. But it's a good spot. All right, today's sponsor is Chicago Steak Company. And they're giving away 4 free steaks on every order. Using the code B as in Bravo, P as in Papa, S as in Sam, I as in India, R as in Romeo, free. That's BPSIR free. That's the promo code. Do you ever buy steaks at the grocery store and it's just a total gamble? You're standing there staring at shrink wrap, mystery cuts of meat, trying to figure out which one might actually be decent. And half the time when you get it home, cook it, and it's just fine. Nothing really special. Well, the Chicago Steak Company is the opposite of that. USDA Prime and Upper Choice, hand-selected by butchers in Chicago, wet-aged 28 to 40 days, vacuum-sealed and shipped on dry ice right to your door. Every cut is hand-carved. There's no guessing here. And here's the part that is really likable. Spend $199 or more on steaks, any steaks, your choice, using the code BPSIR free. And they throw in 4 bourbon peppercorn sirloins for free, plus the free shipping. That's code BPSIR free, FREE. And they throw in 4 bourbon peppercorn sirloins for free. Plus, you get free shipping. These are 6-ounce top sirloin with cracked peppercorn and bourbon rub on them. Lean, beefy, bold flavor. Throw them on a hot grill and they're done in minutes. That's $160 in free steaks, just by using the code BPSIR free. They have over 15,000 5-star reviews. These guys are the real deal. Go to mychicagosteak.com/rumble. Use the code BPSIR FREE. That's BPSIR free in order to get this deal. Go to mychicagosteak.com / and that's your question mark key, /rumble. Use the code BPSIR free, and you'll get this wonderful deal. Once again, that's mychicagosteak.com / rumble, code BPSIR free. Go and do it today. Get this fantastic steak deal. All right. Well, I'll be honest with you folks. This whole thing with Iran, it's a long time coming. And frankly, I'm happy that this is happening. I'm not happy about the people that are dying, but I'm happy that this is happening. Now, one of the biggest problems that we've had over in the Middle East, and by the way, let me just show you a map. Let me just show you a map. Let's see if I can get this a little bit closer here. Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm going to center it to the screen. So here is a map of all of the attacks. Now, everything with a green dot or a green rimmed dot was an Iranian retaliation, a retaliatory strike on the area. So everything with a red ring, every dot with a red ring on this map indicates the initial strikes. So explosions were reported across several cities in Iran, including Tehran, and span as far north as Tabriz and as far south as Chabahar. Iran retaliated by hitting multiple bases and locations in the region, and you can see they hit in Syria, was it Syria or Jordan? Maybe Jordan. Israel. They hit in Saudi Arabia. They hit in Qatar. They hit in the United Arab Emirates. They hit in all different places. And one of the biggest problems that we've had when dealing with Iran is the fact that Saudi Arabia has actually stepped in between us and been like, no. You just kind of leave them alone. We're okay. We're okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's just kind of leave them alone. Okay? Leave them alone. Well, Saudi, after being hit by Iran, has decided, nope, you dumbasses went and opened up the frickin' door And Saudi Arabia is now backing the U.S. after Iran launches the strikes at bases in the UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and Jordan. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia condemns and denounces in strongest terms the blatant Iranian aggression and the flagrant violation of the sovereignty of all of those places. Saudi Arabia has publicly condemned the Iranian airstrikes on U.S. allied Arab states that are surrounding Iran. The statement following the retaliatory strikes, Saudi Arabia said the kingdom condemns and denounces in strongest terms the blatant Iranian aggression and the flagrant violation of the sovereignty of all of our places, the UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and Jordan. The kingdom affirms its full solidarity with and unwavering support for the brotherly countries, and its readiness to place all its capabilities at their disposal in support of any measures they may undertake. It also warns of the grave consequences resulting from the continued violation of state sovereignty and the principles of international law, the statement concluded with. Now, Saudi Arabia also apparently launched strikes at Iran on Saturday in retaliation of the missiles that were launched from Iran at the bases of the various U.S. allied Arab nations. So, yeah. I don't think that Iran is in the same position that it used to be when it comes to this. I don't think it is. Trump called out to the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity. Or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms, you will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great proud people of Iran, I say that tonight the hour of your freedom is at hand. And you heard the rest. Yeah. Now, part of the reason as to why this is going on is because Iran has been blocking nuclear examinations of its facilities for years. And even now, after they've been hit by the U.S. and Israel, according to a report just out, Iran has prevented international inspectors from reaching 3 of their nuclear facilities that were struck by the U.S. this past June. They aren't allowing our people to go in and inspect these sites. They're not allowing us to figure out how much near weapons grade uranium Iran actually possesses. And this is part of the problem. See, folks, we've been pussyfooting around these people for a very long time. We've been sitting here pussyfooting around them, trying to make peace with them. You cannot make peace with these people. You cannot make peace with these people. And sitting here trying to pretend anything different is ridiculous. The International Atomic Energy Agency stressed to the member states that it cannot verify whether or not Iran had suspended all enrichment-related activities, nor could it provide any information to the current size, composition, or whereabouts of the stockpile of enriched uranium in Iran, according to the Associated Press. This is part of the problem. Part of the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem. Is that Iran has been hiding its nuclear actions, where it's going to go. We know that it's been enriching uranium higher than what is necessary for power. See, there's a difference between regular grade uranium that is used for in civilian purposes for power and such, and weapons grade. And it all depends. It's all dependent upon how rich and how long you actually take to enrich the uranium. And this is something that was supposed to be inspected constantly, because this particular area, I mean, it wasn't us. It wasn't America. We were sitting there like, ah, shit, we don't care. I mean, seriously, Iran couldn't get a Scud ballistic missile to actually even hit a target in Israel. But all of the people surrounding Iran had some challenges. All of those people like UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, all of those countries that Iran attacked immediately after the Americans and the Israelis attacked. Yeah, all of those people who were supposed to be your buddies, Iran, yeah, they are interested in whether or not you have a nuclear weapon or are even close to getting a nuclear weapon. And that honestly is part of the problem. See, Iran suspended all cooperation with the IAEA after the 12-day war with Israel in June of 2025. So, and that's, by the way, where our 6 bunker bombs from hit Fordow, Ishtan, and Natanz. And ever since then, the nuclear agency has been forced to rely on commercially available satellite imagery. Excuse me. So what was interesting is that during those observations, the Isfahan facility, which is 215 miles southeast of Tehran, showed regular vehicle activity around the entrance to the tunnel complex used to store the enriched material, and that appears to have averted destruction in June, adding that the report, by the way, was adding that it was unclear whether the site contains nuclear material or if it is even operational. And Iran didn't allow the IAEA to go in and inspect to see how much damage was actually done. Now, the IAEA noted as part of this report that prior to the American and Israeli strikes, Iran said that it was setting up another enrichment plant at Isfahan, whatever it is. Anyway, though the agency did not know its precise location or whether or not it was actually functioning. Now, again, the activity was also observed at the other 2 locations, Fordow and Natanz. The former of which, meaning Fordow, was buried 300 feet inside the mountain. But without access to those facilities, it's not possible for the agency to confirm whether or not those facilities or those activities, what they were there for, what they were doing. So, yeah. Anyway, Tehran, of course, has talked about how its nuclear program has been essentially for peaceful purposes. But seriously, I mean, Iran has got all kinds of oil. There is no reason for them to be pursuing nuclear power because they don't give a shit about green energy. There's no reason for them to be pursuing nuclear power for when they have all of that oil and petroleum products. They have carbon-based fuel sources that they could easily, and not have to worry about anybody worried about them if they put those into place. It'd be cheaper, quicker. But see, that's not the point, because the Iranians want a nuclear weapon. They have, and they're not making any bones about it. They don't give a crap about whether or not the world knows that they want one. That's what they've been going after. Anyway. All right, we're going to move on from Iran. Well, let me just tell you something right quick. With regards to what happened to Iran, can you just imagine about what I'm about to tell you? The reaction that the individuals being targeted by this statement, that they might actually think a second? Yeah. Trump apparently has now stated that the U.S. may have a, quote, friendly takeover of Cuba. He says we could very well end up having a friendly takeover of Cuba, speaking to reporters on Friday. This comes after Cuba opened fire on a U.S. registered boat, killing 4 people, including 1 American, and injuring 6 others that were a part of this. The Cuban government is talking with us, and they're in a big deal of trouble, as you know, but they're talking with us, and maybe we'll have a friendly takeover of Cuba. We could very well end up having a friendly takeover of Cuba. Can you just imagine? So this is on Friday when he's talking about this, and now all of a sudden, we've just hit Iran. Do you honestly think that Cuba might be looking at this and going, oh, shit? Again, it's stuff like this that's going to make international adversaries, I should say, pause and think about this. Be like, oh my gosh, we're in trouble. Trump continued and stated, after many, many years, we've had a lot of years dealing with Cuba. I've been hearing about Cuba since I was a little boy. But they're in big trouble. And we could very well, I think, very positive for the people that were expelled or worse from Cuba that live here. We have people living here that want to go back to Cuba, and we're very happy with what's going on. Now, when he took office, he reversed Biden-era regulations on Cuba, making them much tighter. Biden was met with protests in 2021 after demonstrations in Cuba called for liberty and freedom. In January of 2026, Trump signed an order declaring a national emergency and establishing a process to impose tariffs on goods from countries that sell or otherwise provide oil to Cuba, protecting U.S. national security and foreign policy from the Cuban regime's maligned actions and policies. Now, keep in mind, Venezuela was one of those places. And what happened in Venezuela? Oh, I seem to recall Maduro getting taken under the cover of darkness, where 2 individuals received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Yeah. So, I don't think people seem to realize Trump is doing with this what is called, or what is being mocked as, the Don Roe Doctrine. It's actually the Monroe Doctrine from way back when James Monroe was the president. But they're sitting there and they're mocking the Don Roe Doctrine because it's following the Monroe Doctrine. And they're basically saying, Trump is just he's securing our hemisphere. He's putting us back in a great position. Because again, while America does have some geographical features that do make it difficult for people to even attempt or even think about attempting an invasion of the United States, he's fortifying those positions by making certain that areas where we'll call them bad regimes, but regimes who are hostile to the United States cannot use these jumping off points that are close to us. Now, a lot of people might sit there and say, well, there's Iran, but Iran could have a jumping off point. with some camaraderie. So anyway, well, I want to talk to you for a short bit before we close tonight. I want to talk to you for a short bit about what potentially can happen in 2026. And I want to be clear. I want to be very clear with this. Off-year elections are typically, and historically speaking, typically a shift in power, meaning that right now the Republicans hold the House barely, the Senate barely, and the White House. And usually what ends up happening in these off-year elections is you see a shift in power where the presidency is going nowhere because the president still has 2 more years at least by the time the elections come. But you'll see the House or the Senate, or possibly both, flip. And I'm going to tell you, and this is no laughing matter here. I'm going to tell you right now, as I sit here and stare and look right into the camera, I'm telling you right now, it will be dangerous, 100% dangerous for any Republican, any conservative, for any American-loving patriot to sit at home in 2026. We cannot afford to allow the Democrats any foothold into our government anymore. This is not the same Democrat Party that I grew up with. This is not the same Democrat Party that was American-loving, but just disagreeing on the policies and the prescription as to how we get to America being great. We as conservatives, we as American-loving patriots cannot, under any circumstances, cannot sit at home and allow the Democrats to take control. We've already heard from Democrats saying that they would definitely 100% impeach Trump. They would definitely 100% impeach people like Kristi Noem, who is doing a really good job. And it's not just them. But guess what? There's also a possibility of even Donald Trump and Melania Trump being subpoenaed by the Democrats to come forth and talk about nothing but Epstein. It's beyond imagination that these people are sitting here. Now, keep in mind, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton have already testified, both of which basically said, I know nothing. They pulled the Sergeant Schultz. But the Democrats have already sat there and have said clearly, they're like, we are going to bring them forward. We're going to impeach him. We're going to impeach, we're going to put him on trial. We're going to do all kinds of stuff. And they will do everything they can to undo the good that President Trump and this Republican Congress has been able to accomplish. And all of that can happen if we sit home. This isn't a matter for us to, this is the fight. You want to talk about fighting? It's not a physical fight, but this is the fight. The fight is at the polls. The fight is for us to go to the polls and to make sure that our desires on immigration, on affordability, because Biden screwed all that up. The Democrats are looking to add taxes. Just take a look at the states that have had a Democrat governors. Virginia, for an example. Ma'am Danny in New York, all he wants to do is raise taxes. You think that's doing anything with affordability? No, that's not doing anything for affordability. And that's exactly what's going on with these people, is they want to tax us into oblivion. How in the hell do you think we got here? This is ridiculous, people. We need to stand up. We cannot afford to sit home in this off year. We can't. And this whole thing with Epstein, by the way, has just been a continuous exoneration of Trump, one right after the other. And yet these idiots that are sitting here, they're like a freaking dog with a bone. They go and they bury it in the backyard when something comes up that distracts their attention. And then all of a sudden they go back to it and unbury it every once in a while because it's just fun. Be honest, I don't even think that it should be something that the federal government is even involved in, period. Because I don't remember seeing anything like that in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. But that's what they're doing. Anyway. All right. Well, before we finish, apparently one of my Whiskey Warrior P1s is having a birthday. My news. My Okay. Are we back now? All right. It looks like we're back now. Okay. So in the final moments, let me go ahead and sing to my news. So my news, here it is. Here you go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear My News. Happy birthday to you. Have a happy birthday, My News, and apparently, I don't know if I'm back 100% or not, but looks like it to me anyway. All right. We will see you on Monday. If you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and make sure that you hit that green follow button to get notified every time I go live. Also, too, don't forget to hit those thumbs up, thumbs downs, or thumbs sideways in the case of 3 Chevy across all of my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow. We will see you Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.